So before we start, let me let me run a poll, okay, and just put yes and no in the poll. That will give me some idea about how to go about today's lecture. So 31 of you tell me that you do know about NP completeness. And 9, no. Approximation algorithm, even less. 16 of you say yes. 24 you say no. And vertex covered problem, 2416. Okay. Okay. Great. I will not ask you how many of you know what you call polynomial time algorithm. Okay. This question I wouldn't ask you. Even if you don't know, I will going to assume that you know. Okay. Okay. Good. So let's start trying to build over this, and then we'll get to the space constraints as we go forward. Okay. Okay. So for this talk or lecture, NP completeness is going to be just the following line. Okay. This is not how NP completeness is defined. Okay. But this is just something you can keep in mind, and this is good enough for this purpose. Okay. Okay. So a problem pi, like if a problem pi is NP complete, okay, then there does not exist any algorithm, okay, that solves all instances optimally in polynomial time. Okay?
Yeah.
Why don't you people just mute yourself if you are not asking question? Okay. Shruti, can you mute yourself? I can mute you. Great. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at what I'm saying to you, that if a problem pi is NP complete, then there doesn't exist any algorithm that solve all instances optimally in polynomial time. This is not the definition, but this is just something which will be just enough for our purpose today. Okay. So it just means that, so for example, you just now saw about breadth first search, depth first search, or any other such problems. So what are the instances of this problem is a graph, right? And breadth first search, depth first search runs in polynomial time, right? And gives you breadth first search or depth first search. What is that called? On all instances, right? Or I don't think this is much. This is not very good example. I think the better example will be, say, shortest path or maximum matching. Okay. So what is an input of shortest path? So there could be all pair shortest path, or so input is G, a pair of vertex S and T. And what do I need to output? A shortest path between S and T. Here, input is G, and what do I want to output? A maximum sized matching. How many of you know matching? If you know matching, put +1. Okay, maybe I should put, is there anyone who doesn't know matching? Please put -1. Okay. Okay. Oh, there are enough you don't know. Fine. Shortest path, if someone does not know shortest path, please put -1. Okay, fine. So I assume that everybody knows shortest path, but many of you do not know maximum matching. So given a graph G, okay, matching M is a subset of edges, and it has a following property, right? So for any two edges, E1, E2, which are element of M, okay, E1 and E2 do not share any endpoints. For example, suppose I have following graph, okay, this edge and this edge is a matching edge, because if I look at this edge and this edge, they do not have any vertex which are in common. Okay, so this is a matching, and when I say maximum matching, I want to find subset of edges which pairwise do not share any endpoint and edge of the maximum side, edge of the maximum cardinality. Okay, so for example, this red edge and this brown edge are not matching because they have a endpoint in common. Okay, but is the two red edges maximum matching in this graph? I don't think so, because we could have taken this edge, and this red edge. This is a maximum matching because look, every endpoint can only participate in one of the edges, and we have a matching, or we have a set of edges where every vertex participates into this. So we cannot form much more than this. Okay, so hello, right? So can you tell me if we have a graph G on n vertices, a maximum matching can have size n square? Is it possible that a maximum matching in a graph can have size n square? Very good. N? Okay, good. So Agastya tells that it is at most n by 2. Can you unmute yourself and explain to people why it is at most n over 2?
Yeah, so we are basically forming pairs of vertices. So in that case, there can be at most n by 2 pairs, right? N by 2 pairs which are edge disjoint. Yeah.
Which are pairwise vertex disjoint, you mean? Am I right?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, great. So now is everybody clear with matching? If not, then put minus. Oh, sorry. So now we have these two problems, shortest path and maximum matching, right? Now we know what these problems are. These problems are polytime solvable. Okay, both, which means that if I give you any instance of this problem in polynomial time, you can find an output or you can find an answer to these questions. Okay, but if a problem is NP hard, we cannot design an algorithm for that problem, which for every instance, there may be some instance on which we might be able to find a polynomial time algorithm, but on every instance, it is not possible to find a polytime algorithm. Okay, so this is all that I want to tell you about NP hard problem or NP complete problem. Okay, so now clearly I cannot have an algorithm A, right, that solves all instances optimally in polynomial time. So suppose I still want to design an algorithm which works for all instances, runs in polynomial time, then what do I expect from such an algorithm? You get my point, right? Then we relax the condition of optimality, okay? And we say, look, I'm fine with an approximation. And what I mean by I'm fine with an approximation, look at this maximum matching problem. Hey, maybe there is a maximum matching of size n by 2, right? But I can find you a maximum matching of size n by 4. This is all that I can guarantee, for example. But maximum matching is not a good example because it's a polytime solvable. We can always find a maximum size matching. But just to put my point across, approximation algorithm will mean, okay, so what is an approximation algorithm will mean? So an approximation algorithm will mean, right, as I told you, this is an algorithm A, okay, and it is here's a box, this is an algorithm, it takes an input, some input, okay, this box runs in polynomial in time, and outputs a solution. Okay, it outputs a solution. Now, but it outputs a solution that may not be optimum. Okay, so for example, if I was asking for a shortest path problem, suppose I wanted to derive I wanted to derive a factor 2 approximation for shortest path problem, right? Then what will this algorithm do? Okay, so I know that it takes an input s comma t and g, and it needs to output me a path. Okay, then I will say, oh, look, the path which the algorithm is going to return, okay, the path is no worse than twice of the best solution. Meaning, okay, meaning suppose the length of the shortest path between S and T in G is say L, then our algorithm will return a path P star such that length of P star is guaranteed to be at most 2 times L, right? So look, I'm not telling you that I will give you the best solution, but I will guarantee you that I will give you a solution which is not worse than factor 2 with respect to the best solution. Okay. So this is what is the notion of approximation means. So there was nothing about 2. I could have taken any C and then a factor C approximation will mean returning a solution of size at most C times optimum. Okay? Okay? So is the idea clear? Right? But this is with respect to minimization problem. Right? Right? So where we would like to get, how does this approximation algorithm scale to large graphs with larger path? It has nothing to do with the graph. So if look at any graph and look at ST, whatever is the length of path there, it is not going to return you a path which is more than twice in that particular ST. So for every instance G commas, so think of this way. So what is guaranteed? So let's write opt G comma S comma T length of the shortest path between, okay, S and T in G. Okay. Okay. And now let's call LGST length of the path returned by algorithm on GST. So what are you guaranteed is that, okay, so what I'm guaranteed is that alg GST divided by optimum GST is at most 2, right? Okay. And if we had factor C approximation, then this 2 will be upper bounded by C, right? So this is the point, right? For every instance, I'm going to return solution which is not worse than C times the best solution in that particular instance. Okay? Okay. Okay. So this is how the notion of notion of approximation is defined for minimization problem, right? But how should you define the notion of approximation for say C equal to 2 for maximization problem, right? Say C equal to 2, but for maximization problem. Example, maximum matching, right? Right? So here also, so suppose what will be opt of G, let it denote the size of a maximum matching of G. Okay? And let's say alg G is size of the maximum matching returned by algorithm when run on G. Okay, so now there are several ways, right? I can say that look, either I could define that look at the opt of G and look at the divided by alg of G. This factor is at least C. If I'm going to assume the C is greater than or equal to 1, right? You get my point? So what does it mean? That look, I'm not too much away. So if C would have been 2, what is the meaning of this? That look, the solution which is returned by algorithm, right, is at least half better. Or in other way, if you want to see much more, so probably you could also use this, but it's up to you how do you want. But then this will be like how much fraction. So then C will be less than equal to 1, right? So for example, I say, hey, it is at least 0.5 approximation, meaning whatever solution alg returns is at least half times the optimum, right? So maybe this is a bit more clearer for the approximation algorithm. So for maximization problem. So when I say, hey, max matching has 1/3 approximation, meaning this constant is at least 1/3, meaning the solution which I'm going to return is at least 1/3 times optimum of the best solution in that particular instance. But a lot of people use either this or either this, depending on their context or depending on their notation. Okay. So is the notion of approximation algorithm clear to you? Is the notion of NP completeness clear to you? If yes, put +1. If it is not clear, put -1. Okay, good. So, so let's change our track and let's make a couple of approximation algorithm. Okay, just to get used to this notion, and we will also use this throughout this course. Okay. Okay, how many of you know how to find a maximum matching in a graph? Or how many of you don't know? If you don't know how to compute a maximum matching in a graph, put -1. Okay, excellent, fine. Very nice. Okay, good. So, okay, I'm not going to teach you how to compute a maximum matching of a graph, but I'm going to teach you how to compute a factor half approximation or factor 2, or so let's go with factor 2. A factor 2 approximation for maximum matching. Right? So my convention is alg. No, my convention will be opt by alg. Okay? My convention for maximization problem will be opt of G divided by alg of G. Okay? This is my convention, just so that we know what I mean when I say factor 2 approximation. Okay? So say this is an algorithm to compute, say, maximum matching. So input, it takes G, and it is going to output a matching M of G. Okay. Can anyone tell me some algorithm for matching that you can come up with? Forget about maximum or this, like some heuristic that you can think of algorithm for matching. Any heuristic. Anybody else? Shravan, can you substantiate or pick edges randomly?
Sir, so like we just don't want the edges to share a common vertex. So like say I pick what edge, all the edges from the level 1 of my BFS, leave the level 2 and pick level 3 edges, and like yeah, that need not
But
be the
in
maximum.
level one, look. So what do you mean? Graph induced on level 1 vertices?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I look at a graph like edges with both endpoints in the level 1, how will I find a matching there? Or there you are just going to pick one edge?
No, I meant from the source to level 1, not within level 1.
Okay, source to level 1, I found how many of them?
Let's pick all.
How can you pick all? So I have a source.
Oh, no, we can't. Yeah, we just need to pick one. Yes.
No, we are not assuming that's input is bipartite graph. Sanjay?
Sir, actually, I'm not sure about random, but to pick one edge, leave the ones in neighbors of them, and then pick the next edge and keep moving forward.
Okay.
That is find a maximal matching.
So how many of you heard of this word called maximal matching? So, okay, so let me follow what he said. So here's an algorithm. Okay, here's an algorithm. While there is an edge in G, okay, do whatever you're going to do. So initially, I'm going to set M equal to empty set. Okay, and I'm just going to follow. Okay, pick an edge in G. Okay, any edge in G. Okay, pick an edge E in G. Add E to M, and then G equal to G minus U comma V, where E equal to U comma V. Okay, that's it. This is my algorithm. Okay, so as all of you have pointed out correctly, this is greedy basically. Okay, okay. So 2 questions, or rather 3 questions. Question number 1. Is M a matching? Question number 2. Does this procedure run in polynomial time? Question number 3. What is the relation between optimum of G and M? Okay, so first of all, which of these question is easy?
The first one.
Okay,
So
why
just,
first?
while we pick an edge, we should ensure that it does not have any common endpoints with existing edges in M.
Okay,
Else it
have
won't
we
be a
ensured
matching.
that?
No, so this is not a matching, right?
Okay, why we have not ensured that?
No, we have ensured that.
Because let's say that we have two edges with a common vertex. In the first iteration, we pick one edge. The second iteration, we can pick the next edge, and that is not a matching.
Can you read the algorithm?
We delete both the endpoints of the edges from the vertex set.
Yeah.
If I pick
We
UV,
remove the vertex.
then G is
Oh,
assigned
I'm
G
sorry. I
minus
thought we
UV.
removed the edge. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't follow that. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I should. Maybe I didn't write it correctly. Okay, UV. Say edges we are going to write. So I'm going to delete this. So does everybody is clear that this is definitely a matching? Okay. Does this procedure run in polynomial time?
Yes.
Yes, very good.
Yes.
I mean, if you don't tell -1 or no, I'm going to assume that all of you know. This is fine. Okay. Okay. And what is the relation between opt G? So suppose, so what I mean by this, suppose M star is a maximum matching, right, of G. Okay. And M is the maximum matching, is the matching, not maximum matching, is the matching that is returned by our algorithm. Okay? Okay. What can we say? What is the relation between M star and M, right? Well, okay. So ideally, I would like to show that, look, cardinality of M is at least M star divided by 2. Suppose if I show this, then have I shown that, then I have shown that my algorithm has a factor 2?
Yes.
There is a question, is there a similar relationship with the weights of the graph? Meaning, there is no weights. Arjun, can you explain yourself what question you have? Okay. Okay. Anyway, so how do we go about showing this? So this is very simple. Okay. Okay. So suppose this is my edges of M star. This is my edges of M star. And now I want to write down, I pick up. So suppose M is E1, E2, EL. Okay. I look at edge E1. Okay. Now, if I pick up an edge E1 and I want to see if I pick E1, how many edges of M star I cannot pick? Tell me. So suppose if I picked up E1 in M, how many edges in M star I may not be able to pick? Like, how many edges of M star can I knock off? Suppose E1 is some UV, right? So there are two things can happen. E1 might also be present in M star, okay? So E1 could be present in M star. Then this edge knocks off only one edge of M star, and there are still so many edges which are picked. But what could happen that, look, E1 is only UV, so maybe there is an edge with U, and there is some other edge with V, with maybe some other partner, say U prime, and some other partner with V prime. So the moment I select U1, I cannot pick up this edge U, I cannot pick up this edge V prime. Am I right? So every edge I pick in M, I can only knock at most 2 edges of M star, right? Which implies, what does this implies? This implies that the number L is at least, suppose this is Q over 2, right? You get my point? So for every edge here, you pair up whichever. So I take this edge and I pair up which edges it will knock off. So now this pairing has size at most 2. Okay, right? Which implies that the edges, the matching which our algorithm has considered, okay, is of size at least m star by 2. Okay. Now you can ask, well, is it possible that an edge doesn't knock off anything? It is possible that, hey, why it will not, some edge EL does not knock off anything, which implies that look up some edge. Look up why, like, so I look at E1, E2, EL, and I delete all the edges which they knock off. Is it possible that some edge here remains? Is it possible that some edge remains here?
No, because if that would have been the case, our greedy algorithm would have picked this edge.
Exactly, because the moment, what is our algorithm doing? In some order, it is deleting the endpoints of these edges, right? And when is it stopping? While there is an edge in G, you do something. So if some edge here does not, if there is an edge which remains after this pairing of this business, it implies that after I deleted all these vertices, my graph was not empty, right? So every edge here either knocks off one edge or two edge, right? And hence L is at least Q over 2. Okay, so now we are happy, right? So I look at all the edges and I can pair them up. So all these edges of M star can be either paired with, it can be paired with one of these edges, and the set which is with respect to some edge is of size at most 2. So that implies that the number of objects that you need to knock off everything here is at least Q over 2, right? Which implies to us that cardinality of M is at least M star by 2. And though many of you do not know, maximum matching algorithm, now we know a factor 2 approximation. Am I right? Okay. Okay. Until any question, I will move to the next problem. Okay. Okay. So if there is no question, okay. So let's get to the problem of vertex cover. Okay. So there are several versions of this problem. Okay. So let me write a decision version. Okay. So what is the decision version problem? So you're given an input G, K, and objective is, does there exist a set F, subset of vertex set of G, of size at most K, such that every edge UV has at least one endpoint in S, that is either U is in F or V is in S. Okay, it could be that both are there in this. Okay, okay, so this is called a vertex cover problem. So for example, if I look and I ask, is there a vertex cover of size 1 here? Answer is no, because if I pick this edge will not be picked. If I pick this vertex, this edge will not be picked. If I pick this edge, this vertex will not be picked. But does it have a vertex cover of size 2? Yes, because I can pick any two vertices, and then all the edges have the property that there is at least one endpoint contained here. Or in other words, the property is that if you look at G minus S, there is no edge. Okay? There is, in G minus S, there is no edge. Because what is the property of S? Every edge has at least one endpoint contained inside S. So if I delete S, I shouldn't be finding any edge, right? Because if there would have been edge completely disjoint from S, then S is not a vertex cover. Okay? So this is the decision version. And the other version which we will be interested in is optimization version. Okay? Where input is G, no K, okay? And objective or output is find or output minimum sized vertex covered of G, right? I want to output an S which is of the smallest cardinality. Okay, so unlike matching, decision version of vertex covered is NP complete, and optimization version is NP hard. Okay, so there cannot exist a polynomial time algorithm for this problem, but it's a good exercise to check that vertex covered is in P on bipartite graphs. Okay, but so can you suggest an approximation algorithm for vertex covered? Some algorithm, okay, the way we did it for matching. Okay, so I want to make an algorithm for vertex covered. Can you suggest an algorithm? Any algorithm?
Yeah, it's similar to the matching algorithm. Just if you just add an edge to your answer, and then remove all other edges from those two vertices from your possible answer, future possible answer. Yeah.
Okay, so there are lots of possible answers, right? So
yeah, just randomly pick an edge, and then yeah, you're not allowed to pick any other. You basically delete the two vertices from the graph.
okay, so you are basically telling me to do the following thing.
Yeah, I have a question. So why will we pick edges? We will pick vertices, right? It's vertex cover.
Yeah, so ask him, no? I was not saying anything. Okay, all he said to me is that, okay, I told him to output a vertex cover of G. Okay, and what he says, let me repeat. He says, okay, you call your M S. So I take M equal to S. Pick an edge in the edge. Now, rather than saying add E to M, he's saying add, suppose, pick an edge E equal to UV in G, and correct me if I'm saying add S union U comma V. Okay, okay, this is all that you are saying. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
So
very
we
nice.
can also delete all the neighbors of U and V. No? So like,
That is anyway is covered, no? G into G minus U comma V. No?
okay.
If I put UV, then I deleted G minus U comma V.
Okay.
Okay. There were also some other suggestion by pick a vertex, okay, that covers most number of edges, delete this vertex and repeat. Okay. So let me focus on this algorithm because of the lack of time. Is that first of all, Clearly, this algorithm runs in polynomial time, but why is S a vertex cover? Is that clear to you? Is S a vertex cover, which is constructed by this algorithm? Look, this algorithm does the following. At any point of time in the graph, it picks an edge UV, any edge, adds U and V to S, deletes U and V, and recurses. Right? This is all that this algorithm does, right? So look at your S, right? And so I claim that this is a vertex cover. Why? First of all, what am I doing in a process? All the time, I only delete edges which for the vertices which I put inside. Okay, so it is not possible for. But now, when do I stop? When there is no edge in the graph, then I stop. Okay, when there is no edge in the graph, then I stop. So, which implies that, look, if there would have been an edge which is not covered by S at all, then that edge here will appear here, and then we would have picked that edge. So G minus S is not empty graph, right? So because we are only stopping when there's an empty graph, which means that if I delete S, right? So look at the last time when S stops, right? Look at G minus S. Okay, so how we have picked up this, right? So we have a current G, it has no edge. It means the vertices of S does not cover this edge. Okay, so it is indeed a vertex cover. Okay, but what else are you guaranteed? So let me maintain two things. Okay, I also maintain M. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm also saying, okay, add M to U comma V, this edge U comma V. Right? So I can also rewrite this algorithm as follows. Compute a maximal matching. Okay, compute a maximal matching. Okay, and then my question will be, if I computed a maximal matching, okay, take both its endpoints, right, as vertex cover. This is my claim, right? So why is this a vertex cover? Because what happens here is your maximal matching, and what you did is basically you took the endpoints of this. Okay, now look at any edge. Okay, right? So if there would have been an edge here, not incident to this blue vertices, it means the red colored form, it does not form a matching, maximal matching. I would have added to my matching set, right? So if I take a maximal matching, take both its endpoints, then it does forms a vertex cover. What is its approximation? Well, let's try to understand. This is very simple. Look at any vertex cover, any vertex cover. If he needs to cover this edge, am I right? Right? He needs to cover this edge. He needs to cover this edge. He needs to cover this edge. And what did I do? Well, look at a vertex which covers this edge cannot cover any other edge, right? Because a vertex which covers this edge and this edge, like either this vertex can cover this edge or this vertex can cover this edge. But whichever it may be, those two vertices cannot cover any of these edges, which implies that any vertex cover must pick at least one endpoint from maximal matching edges, which implies that any vertex cover had size at least greater than or equal to m, right? And what we have done, we have found an S of size at most 2 times m. Why? Because we found a maximal matching and took the both endpoints of this maximal matching. Okay? Okay, so that implies that the algorithm we saw has factor 2 approximation. Any question? If you have any, if any of you did not understand it, please put -1. Okay. Well, all and good. Now, the question which I would like to address here is can we implement these algorithms when we only have ordered log n extra bits of auxiliary space? Okay, so is the question clear to you? So look, I told you 2 algorithms. I would like to implement these algorithms, okay, when you have only read-only memory, you have a write tape, which you cannot access, and you have small work tape. So this read-only memory, you can read as much time as you wish, but you can only keep in this work tape, you only have small amount of space to this work tape, and you can write in a separate tape whatever solution comes, but you cannot, whatever you write here, you cannot read it. It is lost. I mean, okay. So now notice that in both the algorithms, we need to maintain a maximal matching, right? We need to keep a set S or we need to keep a M, right? So to keep that set S or M, the space here is how much? How much space will these 2 algorithms will take? Anybody? No, space is just the size of the maximum matching, right? Maximal matching. So which is like order n. Okay? Okay. But now, suppose I told you that this work tape has root n space. Forget about, or let's say n divided by log square n space. Okay? What kind of approximation algorithm can be derived for just these 2 basic problems like maximal matching and minimum vertex cover, right? These are very simple factor 2 approximation. All of you are able to design. But now, when I tie your hands, can we still design good approximation algorithm? Right? Now we will forget about time, running time. I can give you time as much as you want. Okay? But the auxiliary space that you're allowed to use is no more order n that you have used for the last 2 algorithms. But look, root n space looks very hard. And if I tie your hands and say, look, I'm only allowing you polylog in space. And when I say polylog in space, you can think of polylog in words or polylog in bits as you wish, right? What can you do? Okay. So I hope this motivates you to this set of questions. And tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we will look into these questions and we'll carry on from there and then move to the difficulties one faces when you are designing these kind of algorithms to designing streaming kind of algorithms. And you will see streaming will be introduced to you, I think, in the last lecture today, I guess. Okay? Okay. Until unless there is no question, we will continue tomorrow starting from here at 11. Sorry, not 10, but 11. Anybody has any questions? In my opinion, this is the right place to stop. that we have seen the algorithms for 2 basic problems. I would like you to go look into this, check it out, do as much as you can, and try to see for these 2 basic problems, what can you do if your hands are tied? Think about it, and then you will be able to appreciate these algorithms much, much more.